All right. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another stream. Oh my god, EA's catching me slipping, right? Because let's be honest here, chat. EA games are trash, right? I feel like that's not a hot take. Um, Madden games are not what they used to be. Um, I know, there was the FIFA crowd out there. I've never got really into the FIFA games. You have like EA with the Star Wars Battlefront stuff. Um, it seems like everything that EA touches, it gets turned into toxic, just mush. Here it comes, EA making a product, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting kind of excited for it because everything we're hearing is good, but I just don't want to fall for the marketing, right? But everything that we've heard that College Football 25 is not a Madden reskin. It's not a Madden reskin. Don't worry about it just being Madden because it's its own thing, which is amazing. But I'm getting kind of excited for College Football 25. Not gonna lie. I would say, if I'm being honest, I'm probably more excited for College Football 25 more than I am for 2K releasing, which is crazy. But, take a look at this. Hold on. Can we look at this for a second? Because I want to show y'all something. Not this. This is obviously our streaming. We have to talk about this. Oh, there's a stream manager. Hello. But take a look at this. Look at that. Look how expensive it is. College Football 25. The standard edition is $70. The deluxe edition is $100, and the MVP, which, if you care about, Madden, since they just released the Christian McCaffrey, is going to be on the cover. If you care about the bundle of College Football 25 and Madden, then you get the MVP bonus. $150? $150? Nah, that's crazy. Like, gone are the days where new video game releases are like $59.99. Now they're $69.99. Now they're $79.99. And the problem is, I feel like I'm gonna have to get the deluxe edition, the $100 version, because if we go to the EA website for College Football 25, one of the only times I'm going to be on the EA website, just being honest. If we look at the deluxe edition, what you get the base game. You get 3-day early access. And since I'm so excited for College Football 25, and also I want to bring y'all content of streaming, whether it's a Road to Glory or Dynasty, I want to see what Mizzou looks like in this new game, since every single FBS school that was made in this game, they really took it seriously. They really lived up to the pageantry of college football, the introductions, the fan environments, the loudness meter, everything is accurate like it is in real life. So I want to see what Mizzou is. I can't wait 72 hours to see. And the base game, I need to do the 3-day access deluxe edition. So there goes $100, and there goes eventually another $100 when I have to shell out for when 2K releases, and on top of that, $50 for upgrading my first build. Sports games got me in a chokehold in the summer, fall months. What can I say? But Sup Dakota, welcome. So I'm really trying to keep my expectations in check, because I do realize it is EA at the end of the day, and I don't want to fall for the marketing. But everything that we've heard is good. I'm really going to get excited for an EA product. God damn it all. All right, but no, the real thing we're going to be reacting to, the main reason why we are doing this stream, is to react to the another trailer that EA just released for College Football 25, and it's to talk about more of the gameplay, which I know I and everyone else out there is concerned about because, oh my god, is College Football 25 a Madden reskin? Does it play just like Madden? Because in my opinion, if College Football 25, we get the game, I'm able to get my hands on sticks and everything, and within the first game of playing on a Mizzou Dynasty or whatever, I see that's just like Madden, I'm not going to be playing it a week later. Just being honest. So, that's the main thing we're worried about. And, that's what everyone cares about. And when they EA sent down the people, all the content creators, to test out like an early beta version of College Football 25, the number one question that they always answer, the main thing they always introduce the video, like, oh, I was flown down to EA to test out College Football 25. And the very next sentence feels like it's, written in their contract or whatever. Or take a blood oath. Every single content creator, after they say, oh, I was flown down to EA to test out the game, the very next thing they say is it a Madden reskin? And they always say no. It feels looser, it feels faster, it feels way more fun, but it is EA at the end of the day. I don't want it to be marketing. I need to hear it for myself. I need to see it for myself. And then we'll ultimately see if it's a Madden reskin. But let's react to this gameplay trailer that has Kirk Herbstreit on it. And that more details the gameplay. And then we will obviously do our reaction like we've done in the past trailers. And then we'll move forward. Alright, so let's change this up. Okay. And I also hope y'all are able to hear it just fine.
Hey everyone, Kirk Herbstreit here, and welcome to the official EA Sports College Football 25 Gameplay Deep Dive. Today's focus is on the exciting new Campus IQ gameplay feature set, which includes the new wear and tear system, player abilities, home field advantage, unique playbooks, and a host of new mechanics that deliver the explosive, fast-paced gameplay.
Not to pause it, I said this on a past stream, but this hurdle, yes, the animation looks good. Yes, the animation looks satisfying. And, if I'm the offensive player, if I'm, running a Kansas like Road to Glory Dynasty or whatever, and my running back is able to pull this move, yeah, I'm getting hyped for it. If I'm the defense, I am worried, right? And, not to like harp on it, not to like, repeat what I said in the past stream, but it basically came down to how often does this animation trigger? This is an animation that should be once in a blue moon and should be tied to stick skills and be tied to user skill, timing, all that stuff. This is not something that should be triggered every game, a few times a game whatsoever. Because if this animation triggers at least once a game, that's going to get very frustrating, very annoying, and I'm not much of an online game, kind of person. I more prefer like the offline Dynasty, Road to Glory, and that kind of stuff. But for the online people, if this is an animation that happens a lot, this will, I promise you, will result in a lot of broken computers, a lot of broken controllers, a lot of broken windows. This needs to be a once in a blue moon, get hype moment, rather than something that happens, every day. Just saying, EA.
Unique to college football. Let's get into it. The new wear and tear system changes how you approach every snap. Wear and tear is a progressive player health system that prioritizes strategic substitutions and diverse play calling to keep your players healthy.
Yeah. Chat, the wear and tear system, it seems like the wear and tear system seems to be the most, if I'm not mistaken, the most polarizing thing about College Football 25 ahead of its release. Is some people love it and some people hate it. Now, like I was, prefacing earlier in the stream, I'm not trying to get, too hyped up on the marketing. I'm not trying to fall for the, EA marketing tools and everything. I've been soaking in like a sponge as much information as I can about College Football 25 because I want to be as informed as possible because when I turn on the camera, I want to share my knowledge out to y'all, right? And everything from what I know about the wear and tear system is, it's not a stamina, it's not a fatigue meter. It has nothing to do with stamina or fatigue. You're not going to get tired based on wear and tear. Wear and tear is something that is progressive. It's something that, is tied to how hard you get hit. And, it's like the quote, how hard you get hit and how, you come back and everything. How hard you get back up and everything. Because, let's say I'm a quarterback. Let's just, hypothetical scenario, not totally real whatsoever. But let's say I'm a quarterback and my road to glory may or may not be going to a certain school in the center of, the country. May or may not be one of the many Tiger universities. May or may not be in the SEC, it just means more. May have not had a historic 10-win season, but we move. Anyway, let's say I go to that very hypothetical, not real, not so fake school. It's not a Bishop Sycamore situation. Anyway, so let's say I go to that school and we are on the road against Georgia. And I get hit very hard in a hit stick formation in my right shoulder, right? The wear and tear system is going to get impacted because I was hit very hard in the right shoulder, which means my throwing ability, especially if I'm a right-armed quarterback, my throwing power attribute is going to take a hit based on how hard I get hit, right? So, there's a possibility, let's say I have 99 throw power. I don't even know if that is possible. Sometimes in the past games, it was because I think in college football, NCAA football 13, the max throwing power was 95. But whatever, we move. You get what I'm trying to say. Let's just say for hypotheticals, Mizzou quarterback. Oh shit, I said the name. I'm trying to use the Men in Black thing. You did not hear that. Small school, SEC, center of the country. Anyway, against Georgia. So I get hit sticked in the shoulder. That could mean that my former 99 throw power is now 94 throw power, 95 throw power, 90 throw power, depending on how hard I got hit. Which is very interesting in that, if you're running Dynasty, I'll see prompt you to rest your starters, bring in your bench guys, not be as reckless and going for the hit sticks, every single time when you're on offense, trying to truck people nonstop. It allows you to play smart, which is great. I would say the one counter I have to the wear and tear system, since it's tied to attributes of how hard you get hit, is that going to cause, especially in an online setting, because I can see it get very annoying. If you're playing against someone online and they're on defense, they go for the hit stick every single time, trying to injure and trying to reduce your offensive players' attributes, forcing you to bring in your bench guys. I can see that get very annoying. So as punishing as you're punishing the offensive player for not being reckless, for being smart, for, sliding, if you're running with the quarterback, whatever, slide when you have the opportunity, or to run out of bounds to avoid getting hit or whatever. Have them play smart. Don't give the defense freedom to hit stick you or want to hit stick you every play trying to injure you, right? That should also come with its own consequences, right? Now, whether that's its, own, wear and tear system where, if your defensive player is always lean with his head trying to hit stick, trying to target people, well, now he has a huge head injury and, he's more prone to concussions. I don't know, something like that. Just don't give the player on defense the ability just to, want to hit stick you every time, trying to injure you because, the only person who can get punished by being reckless is the offense player, not the defense. Because I feel like in an online setting, that will get annoying if every single person you're playing online is just going for hit sticks, trying to injure you, and use the wear and tear system, trying to abuse it.
With wear and tear, every hit matters, but not all hits have the same impact. And a single hit, like a blow to a quarterback's throwing arm, can change everything, just like it can in real life. Every hit scales differently and will have unique effects on a player's performance as damage and fatigue add up over the course of a game. Managing wear and tear is critical to your team's success, both in a single game and over the course of a season. In EA Sports College Football 25, we're introducing both mental and physical player abilities that help separate highly skilled players.
Abilities, yeah. And everything that I've read, everything that I've heard, these are not X factors, which is amazing. These are not guarantees, right? It's not a situation where, I haven't played Madden in a long time. I don't remember the name of them. But there is one out there where it's like, if I was a running back, there was an X factor out there where, chat yelled to remind me what it was. But there's an X factor out there where, if you triggered it, like it was a guaranteed success that you would like break the first tackle, no matter who it was, no matter what the situation was. If your X factor was equipped as a running back, they were able to break the tackle as a guarantee. That got annoying. There's another X factor out there. I've talked about the bazooka one with Patrick Mahomes where, he's now able to throw like 20, 30 yards further than anyone else. There's another one where it's like, if I'm the wide receiver, 50-50 balls, I'm always going to be the one that comes down with it. And that got very annoying, very broken, and it made offensive players just be superheroes, and anyone on defense was like, well, there's no point in playing defense since they got the X factor, so what can I do? I'm always at a disadvantage. But I've heard that abilities are not X factors, they're not guarantees, and if I'm not mistaken, it's 5 physical abilities and 3 mental abilities. So there's 8 total is the maximum you can have. And they are in tiers. So it's bronze, silver, gold, and platinum? I think that's what it is. Bronze, silver, gold, platinum. And similar to 2K, so that's why people bring up the similarity to 2K with badges. Where the level of ability or badge you get, you know what I'm talking about, is based on what attribute you have. And obviously, the higher attribute you have, the higher tier you'll be able to go up on the ability. And obviously, if you have a higher tier ability, that would mean that you're able to do more and you're able to notice more of a change, which is great. But apparently it's nothing where it triggers nonstop or it's always there or whatever. It's apparently something that is situational, and the abilities will only trigger in very, very specific moments of the game rather than the entire game, which is great. I like that. Like, for instance, there's one where I think it's the headstrong ability. I'm sure we'll talk about later on. But headstrong ability allows, you as the quarterback to be able to still make audible, still be able to see hot routes. If you're on the road in a very, very tough environment, you're still able to see the play art. You're still able to not get as affected by the squiggly lines that people are known for in previous college football games where you're on a very, very tough road environment. So it's stuff like that, not a guarantee I have this ability, now I have it forever on the highest ability no matter what, which is great.
From untested freshmen. In contrast to the pros where superstar talent is generally balanced across the league, the player abilities in college were designed to showcase the overall discrepancy in player and team skill levels. Physical abilities boost attributes.
I've also heard about this, so I want to look at this for a second.
Team skill level.
Okay. So, this kicking meter. I don't know why, but I have information about this kicking meter. Just like I said, I've been reading up as much as I can and soaking up as much information as I can about this game. And what I know about the kicking meter is you basically, as you can see, you have to time it twice. So it starts off on this bottom arch right here. And you see this little football gray icon right here. So obviously it's going to go left, right, like a metronome. And your goal is obviously to hit as close to the green center as you can, right? So then this meter, this arrow, will start to fill. And in order to fill it, you have to hold, I don't know if it's at some PlayStation or on Xbox. I don't know what button is. I assume that's what the button is, but you have to hold this button for the arrow to fill, and you want to get it to as close to the top of the arrow as possible. Now, that sounds easy, but apparently from what I've heard, you don't want it to get to the very tippy top of the arrow, because that's when you get into the red tier. That's when you're kicking it, too hard, and that could lead to inaccuracy. So you want to get the bottom arch as close to the green as possible, dead center in the middle, and you also want the arrow to fill enough, but not too much, where you're filling it completely and it's now in the red. So it may benefit you from leaving a little bit of extra wiggle room in the arrow and not filling it completely to keep it in the green, which may take a skill gap and may get interesting. I feel like people will miss kicks, at least in the very beginning, trying to get used to the mechanic. Interesting. And apparently, how fast the little bottom arch football thing moves is tied to your kicker's accuracy ability attribute. So if you have a 70 overall kicker or whatever, and he has like 65, kick accuracy, that meter on the bottom arch is going to move in like Usain Bolt, compared to if you have a 99 overall kicker. I don't even know if that's possible, but if you have a 99 overall kicker, now it's a lot more slow, it's a lot more tame, and it's a lot easier to get in the green window, which is great. It may benefit you if you're running a dynasty to recruit or at least build up and train a worthy kicker, especially if you are a mid-tier, low-tier program trying to upset the big dogs. And you're trying to, walk off on a crazy game-winning walk-off field goal. They benefit you from not ignoring kickers, which is interesting.
Physical abilities boost attributes like breaking tackles, or can provide protection from wear and tear. Mental abilities enhance intangible traits like leadership, pre-snap clarity at the line of scrimmage, and staying calm under pressure. Here you can see the Stadium Pulse meter is maxed out, but the visiting quarterback does not have the mental ability.
We talked about this.
Headstrong, which provides resistance to distractions. The visiting quarterback here does have Headstrong active, so he can see the field more clearly and will be less prone to mistakes for this play. A player can have up to 8 abilities, and they can scale in effectiveness, providing situational advantages throughout a game that ignite the dynamic and unpredictable moments that make college football so exciting.
So chat, 100%. I feel like if you are doing a Road to Glory or Dynasty, but I'm speaking more of the Road to Glory because I'm more of that crowd than Dynasty crowd. So just speaking from my Road to Glory experience, I feel like it's a requirement to get the field general ability that not only Kirk was just talking about, but I was also talking about, where you're on the road and you don't get affected by squiggly lines in the crowd intimidation factor. I feel like that's a requirement, right? That's an ability that not only do you want, but you want it on the highest tier possible for that kind of moment. Because the reality is you're going to be going to a lot of tough environments and you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. Like you literally saw, if we rewind that tape a little bit.
Does have Headstrong active. Quarterback does not have the mental ability.
Right, you see the squiggly lines, which is, and the Stadium Pulse, which is just iconic from college football games.
Strong, which provides resistance.
Look at that. He doesn't have the ability. He tried to hit this receiver all the way down here, But look where the ball went. Like, this is going to be a requirement. This is going to be a must-have ability, especially if you're a quarterback doing Road to Glory. You need the headstrong ability on maximum power. At least that's what I'm taking from this. You're going to want this at maximum, because if you don't have it, then to me, there's no point in playing road games, because you're screwed. You're screwed if this is what happens if you do not have the ability.
The distractions. The visiting quarterback here does have headstrong active, so he can see the field more clearly and will be less prone to mistakes for this play.
So yeah, 100%. You're going to want the ability.
A player can have up to 8 abilities, and they can scale in effectiveness, providing situational advantages throughout a game that ignite the dynamic and unpredictable moments that make college football so exciting. From Tiger Stadium to Happy Valley, we're pumping the sights and sounds of the most iconic and daunting home field environments right into your living room. And with home field advantage, the host team has the upper hand. As the visiting team, you'll face various degrees of home field advantages impacting confidence and composure levels.
That's interesting. That is interesting. So based on what road team you're visiting, the stadium pulse varies based on how loud and how intimidating it is. Which that's a thing in real life. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I am so intrigued about College Football 25 and, hearing what the different road environments are like, what the different stadiums are like and everything, is because that's one of the things that I feel like Madden has been missing. Not that I play Madden these days, because, I feel like I'm not the only one. But back in my day when I used to play Madden, and when they brought in this, Stadium Pulse feature, trying to, replicate college football games, because obviously, when Madden brought in the Stadium Pulse ability, that was a time where we weren't getting college football games because it was technically illegal. And can of worms I'm not getting into. But when Madden brought it in, there was something lacking. There was something missing. And to me, in my opinion, what was missing is it didn't feel like there was a stadium pulse. It didn't feel like there was any crowd entry. It felt flat. Because what I mean is, the stadiums didn't feel different. You could go from, Arrowhead with the Chiefs. You could go from Soldier Field or wherever it is now with the Bears. You can go to MetLife Stadium with the Giants and Jets. You can go to NRG Stadium with the Texans. Right? I don't want to be wrong. But you got me. You can go to any stadium and they will pump in stadium crowd noise, artificial noise, whatever, but it won't feel different, right? You're not going to feel a difference playing in Soldier Field versus Arrowhead, right? You're just not. It always felt the same. It always felt the, same bland road environment. There was no difference. But in college football, yeah, there is a difference. There is a difference from being a visiting team at Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and I guess in this clip, Sam Houston. Or, you saw earlier with UTEP, University of Texas, El Paso. I know my college schools. But yeah, there's a difference in crowd intensity and crowd noise based on what program you go to, which is great. And I feel like Madden just took the easy route where it's people miss stadium pulse, people miss crowd noise intimidation factor, so let's just copy and paste the code and put in Madden and that'll get people hype about it. It's yeah, you brought in stadium pulse, but you're missing the point. People didn't like stadium pulse because the crowd got louder in third down situations, whatever. That's not why people liked it. People liked it because it varied based on what school you were visiting. That's what made people like it, because once again, that's what happens in real life. So seeing this difference based on what program you're going to, I like that a lot. I know it's one of those things where it's it doesn't really affect gameplay that much. It's one of those things that's like in the background. Like, yeah, sure, it's in the background, but it plays to me a huge role in how long I'm gonna be playing College Football 25, whether it's a week or the next couple months all the way to the new year. Having crowd intensity and environment and getting that accurate is going to keep me playing this game.
On-field performance and more. Home field advantage will disorient players with lower composure levels more than it will for the level-headed players. Decisions like audibles and hot routes will become more difficult because these stadiums will be rocking. So it's more important than ever to keep your team in manageable down and distance situations. With 134 FBS teams,
it's a very small, but I'm just saying, chat, that quick menu loading screen with the helmets, the team selection screen, that is so clean. It's simple, but it's clean, right? You got the helmets here, right? In very high definition, you got the conference over here. You got alternate logos over here. Apparently, these alternate logos show up. It's not like alternate logos like, oh, if I ran, with the Pitt Panthers, instead of running with like the Pitt, signature, text, I can, change the helmet to be like this, Panther logo. That's not what it is. Apparently, these like alternate logos just show up once you're readied up, which is cool. You get the offense, defense, overall, home, away team. You sort out by conferences, which is amazing. It's very simple, but it's clean. It's a quality of life thing that I appreciate. Now, just waiting to see what the Mizzou one looks like, of course.
to choose from in EA Sports College Football 25, the wide range of plays.
So this is obviously the, play screen. You got coach suggestions, player, formation, concept, play type, personnel, favorites, interesting, and recent. Key players, oh, that's interesting. Tight end, right guard, tight end, quarterback. Interesting. Showing key players, we obviously got the scoreboard down here. This is showing a camera of the field. That's interesting. So I wonder, let's say I have like a big play touchdown where, we have like a 50-yard, touchdown or whatever, long pass to my receiver. I wonder if like we get a replay of that or some replay of that in this screen over here. Or if there's a hit stick, do we see a replay of that in this screen? That could be cool. Game summary, 4 first downs, possession time, yards. Cool. And this will also change like, oh, my, quarterback has thrown for like, 5 completions in a row. This is like now his like completion percentage. This is like his completions, his attempts, his yards, his touchdowns, interceptions, right? So this screen will change throughout the game, which I do like. Okay. I like it.
Styles is something you can't experience anywhere else.
And apparently, every single school in this game has a designed different playbook. So, as you can see here, Virginia Tech and Syracuse playbooks, their offense they're going to be running is going to be different than what Oregon runs, than what they run. So, I like that a lot. That's interesting. So then when it comes to like, online, let's say, people aren't going to be playing the same way. People are going to be running different playbooks. People are going to be running different plays and different styles, which I like that. Because, yeah, that's also a thing that happens in real life where, college teams don't all play the same, right? You have, the air raid, I guess, offense you can say, at like, Alabama and Oregon, they run like an air raid offense. Michigan is more of a ground and pound running, style offense. And obviously you have the triple option Army. So these schools do not play identical one-to-one, which once again, that's another problem that Madden has had the last few years, is that, especially in an online setting, everyone runs the same plays and runs the same styles and plays the same way, and that gets very, very, very repetitive. So seeing that each school has its own designated playbook based on how they play could make online, maybe I do dive into the online setting a little bit, could make the online play very fun, add a ton of variety, a lot of replayability factor.
From wide splits in Oklahoma, to the triple option at Air Force, to Michigan's dominant ground game, the playbook variety makes for unique matchups every game. Fake out your rivals with new user reverse handoffs, explore the new option game, and other new trick plays. With more teams throwing the ball all over the field, College Football 25's revamped passing mechanic adds control and variation to every dropback. To expand player variation at quarterback, we focused on tuning situational throws and an array of new trajectories that will provide more passing control with a timed button press. Other new gameplay mechanics will give you more control before and after the snap. Adjust the length of your primary route with custom stems.
W. That's a W. That's a massive W. Do you realize? Hold on, let me just replay that again because that's a massive W. Hold on. I want to make sure that my ears were not deceiving me. Did I hear what I thought I heard? I thought I heard you can adjust the the distance for the hot routes. Chat, are my ears deceiving me? If so, that's a massive W. Hold on, let me replay that again.
Other new gameplay mechanics will give you more control before and after the snap. Adjust the length of your primary route with custom stems.
Oh my God, that's a W. That's a massive W, chat. Do you realize how game-changing that is? Especially me as someone who's like played quarterback in like Road to Glory forever. Do you realize how amazing that is? Being able to change the distance of the hot route? Because one of the things that is so frustrating about, quarterback in like the old like college football games or whatever is, let's say, it's a 3rd and long situation, like 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9 or whatever. And not that I would ever be in this situation because I'm a perfect quarterback. But let's just say hypothetical situation. It's a 38, 39, and I want to do a curl route with one of my wide receivers. And the curl route, he goes 5 or 6 yards and then turns around and waits for the ball. Right? So obviously he's short of the line, he's short of the first down, and if I were to throw to him in the past games, if I were to throw him and he catches the ball, then I'm just hoping that either there's enough space or he's able to break a tackle and get the extra 2-3 yards to get the first down. And a lot of times, that didn't happen. That's not what happened at all. He obviously was short of the first down because, he got tackled as soon as he caught the ball because it was a curl route, obviously. Now, if I do a curl route, same situation, I can send the receiver to go past the line of scrimmage, past the first down marker, curl back, get the ball, easy first down. Instead of hoping that he's able to break a tackle and then get the first down. That's amazing. I love that. EA, I'm not trying to get hyped on the marketing, but that may be that and hearing about different crowd environment noises based on what stadium you're in. That might be, if we're being honest, the 2 biggest W's I've heard of College Football 25.
Switch players directionally with the new switch stick for post-snap control. Master the new kicking meter and call a number of new hot routes at the line. For more on gameplay and playbooks, check out the Campus Huddle blog. Subscribe today to get the latest EA Sports College Football 25 news. To make it game day every day this season, pre-order the MVP bundle, which includes both EA Sports College Football 25 and EA Sports Madden.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kirk Herbstreit. I know you were probably paid to say the last line, but no, sorry, we are not pre-ordering for Madden 25, much less even buying or playing that piece of garbage to begin with. But we will be playing College Football 25 though. We will be pre-ordering that, and after hearing that news, especially with the hot route, audible stuff, be able to change the route, the distance, man, that's... Oh, I'm really getting hyped for an EA product. They fucking got me in a chokehold now. Oh, man, that's... EA, you guys are experts at marketing. I also want to show something. Because I want to dive further into the whole college football environment factor and how it plays a huge role compared to Madden and really just the NFL. How college football environments just pale in comparison to the NFL. Like the NFL home field environments, yeah, the Arrowhead gets loud and everything, but college football is elite, in my opinion. Like, there is no NFL stadium that compares to the loudest, most intense college football environments out there. And this clip sums it up perfectly. So I'm going to let this clip play, and then we're going to react to it and share our thoughts. But if you don't believe me, if you think that's a hot take that, oh, well, Arrowhead gets, loud at times and everything, watch this clip, and then we'll come back to that. A moment in Kansas City Chiefs Arrowhead history or any other NFL stadium in NFL history, you find me a moment like that. All right, that's my challenge for you. You find me a moment from an NFL game that does that. Because I showed you a college football situation. College football environments are elite for a reason for situations like this. Right? Just for this reason, right? And that's what I was saying about, earlier of how I think it's really cool that, when you go on the road, whether it's a Road to Glory, Dynasty, quick game, online game, whatever situation you're going into, the road team will always have an advantage from the squiggly, lounge, crowd environment, which, once again, that's common sense. But the louder and more intense environments you go to, the stadium pulse will be even more intense, and your offensive players will be even more startled if you're in a situation like this because, look what happened, right? This is the first play of the game, right? You can literally see 15 minutes to go in the first quarter, 1st and 10, first play of the entire game. And the visiting team had to call a timeout because they got a delay game penalty because the crowd was so loud. This quarterback right here, number 2, Shea Patterson from Michigan. What even happened to him? But they had to call a timeout because they got a delayed game call because it was so loud that the center could not hear Shea Patterson want the ball snapped, so they got a delayed game penalty. This is the first game of the entire game. First play. Couldn't even get it off. You find me a moment in the NFL that does anything 50% to this, and I will gladly shut up. I will gladly shut up. If any NFL situation has done anything close to this, right? Because, yeah, NFL games do get rocking at times. I've seen Arrowhead at times. I've been to Arrowhead a couple times. They don't get to this. They do not do this. Right? They do not get to this. And, you know, I said this before on a past stream. I can't remember which one. But, oh, I remember. It was us saying, like, oh, are we worried about like College Football 25, whatever. And I said that we know a couple songs that is going to be in College Football 25 is Mo Bamba. And, well, what coincidentally is a song that plays in this iconic moment? Obviously, Mo Bamba. So, the fact that we got Mo Bamba in College Football 25, and when you think of Mo Bamba from college football, you think of this moment, my brain immediately goes to, I said this in a past stream, can we please, EA, I'm begging you, this will literally, I know there's a lot of toxicity, there's a lot of, distrust around the EA brand when it comes to Madden, NBA Live. You guys aren't making FIFA games anymore, Star Wars Battlefront, all that stuff. If you want trust in the EA brand again, let us recreate this Michigan's Penn State moment in our dynasties. Do you realize how legendary that will be if we're able to recreate this moment in our home environment, in our dynasties? Do you realize how game-changing that will be if we're able to recreate this moment with our dynasty? Right? Because I brought up the scenario that we bring up either a created school or a 1 or 2 star program. We turn them into a powerhouse, and now they are a national championship contender. They are one of, or if not, the toughest school to play in college football. Let's say Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, whatever. A big-time program is entering our home environment for a night game, and we cause them a delay of game, and we cause them to call a timeout in the first play of the entire game because our stadium is going that loud that we force them to call a timeout because it's that intense. I don't know if the code will allow the computer to do that. I doubt it, but I'm just saying, if we're able to get something close to recreating this moment in the dynasties that we build up or whatever, or how I also brought up, we're on the flip side. Instead of us being Penn State with the dynasty, instead we are Michigan. We are going into a tough road environment, and we are on the receiving end. We are forced to call a delay a game, or forced to call a timeout because of delay a game call, because the road environment we're going to is that loud and we can't snap the ball. Either way, I will be floored. I would be ecstatic if one of the two scenarios happen. I just want this moment recreated in some way, contextualized. Whether we're Penn State, it's our dynasty, it's our program, and the visiting team is now shaken up by how loud we are. Or on the flip side, we're Michigan and we're on the receiving end of this loud environment. We have to call a timeout because delay a game call. Either way, whichever it is, if this is able to get recreated in some way, because you brought in the Mo Bamba song for a reason. And not only that, but the creators that EA flew out to show College Football 25 and everything, in the presentation, they showed this video. They showed this clip to the creators. And apparently, during the presentation, they recreated that moment in College Football 25. So, EA in a presentation recreate this moment. Please, for the casual gamers that did not get the opportunity to fly down to Florida, fly down to EA Studios and see College Football 25 and get to play it early, the casual gamers like me, please, knock on wood, please, let us have this moment recreated in our own dynasties, whatever. Let us be able to see this moment. Because it's iconic for a reason. Imagine being a defensive player on Penn State in that moment. Like, seriously. Imagine being a Penn State defensive player, especially like a defensive back, where defensive backs are all about, you know, being showboating and being swaggy and everything, having a ton of swagger and having, you know, a ton of, you know, suaveness to them. Imagine the adrenaline pumping with that happening. That would be crazy. I think we have one more thing to react to about College Football 25, so let me pull that up before we...
Let me just get this...
end stream. Okay. All right. So let's see what this is about. This is information on Dynasty. So, once again, like I said in past streams, I'm more of a Road to Glory guy, but I still will be touching Dynasty a lot in College Football 25. So, let's see what... especially people that are way more care about Dynasty than me. What are people getting into?
Let me just get this out of the way. Dynasty mode is back. I've been able to see the game and play it for over 4 different hours while I was down in Orlando, Florida, and I'm here to tell you 20 things you need to know about Dynasty mode in College Football 25.
All right, chat, get your notebooks, get your textbooks out. There's going to be a quiz at the end of this.
And while I can't give my personal impressions on a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about today, a lot of the press outlets have already been able to give this information out while I'm held under a different embargo. So the information that we're going to be talking about is down in the description if you want to read it more in detail.
Ah, damn it. There's no description. I download the video. Damn it. All right.
I'm also on the road to 300,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So if you're enjoying the content and want more Madden 25 and College Football 25 news, make sure you hit that subscribe button. In College Football 25, coaching skill trees return, and they're significantly better than what we had in NCAA Football 14. In the old game, no matter a player's position, their traits, their archetype, they just kind of leveled up the same as everybody else. College Football 25 has a skill tree that has 11 different branches to it, and no matter what you do, you cannot max out all of them. The branches are going to give you different boosts in areas like recruiting, tactics, developer, motivation, and additional areas. New in College Football 25, you can hire and fire your coordinators. Thank God. Maybe you want to focus on your coach being better in tactics and motivation, and that's totally cool. Maybe your coordinators then can focus heavily on recruiting and kind of double down there. Or maybe you're a small school and you need a massive lift in recruiting because you're probably going to lose a lot of games early on. You can focus on recruiting across every one of your coaches, you and your coordinators, to kind of get a much larger boost. Similar to past NCAA football games, the coaching carousel is back.
Okay. I also wonder how it works out in theory, because if I remember in past coaching trees, right, I think NCAA football 14 had it. Once again, it's obviously been a decade, so I'm just trying to remember. But if I'm not mistaken, people just upgraded the recruiting side of things. They just maxed out the recruiting on NCAA Football 14 when you ran a dynasty, and they didn't really touch much about the development, coaching, in-game, whatever. They just focused on, okay, let me be able to recruit the best players, and then, everything else will sort itself out. So, hearing that and how things are different, and how you can't max out everything, and how it may benefit you of having, one coach be good at this thing, have this other coach not be great at recruiting, but be great in, developing your players. That, I think, is interesting. It adds a lot of variety. It adds a lot of strategy to it, because it makes you think, okay, I have limited resources of what I do. What's the best way to do this? I can't do recruiting on everybody, so who should be focused on recruiting? Who should be focused on development and stuff? Interesting.
We talked about your coaches having different skill trees, being able to hire and fire them. You can imagine the coaching carousel will get wild in the offseason. As your team sees more success, you're going to see your coaches leave for maybe bigger or better opportunities. Maybe they want to be a head coach. Maybe it's a coordinator job at a bigger school. They could potentially leave. And at the same time, maybe there's a head coach that's really good, but had a really bad season or two, got fired, and they could be the next coordinator on your squad as a rebound. Bringing in the right coach and honestly keeping them will be a major part of your success in this dynasty mode. It's not all.
Interesting. So, coaches that you bring on that you may have started from the beginning, start from the bottom with them as a 2-star program, you become the new Alabama, you become a new dynasty where you sit straight national championships. The coaches could leave, be like, we've had enough success, now I want to make my own path. Interesting. I wonder if they can leave. I wonder if there's like a situation where you can say, oh no, you're not allowed to leave us, we're bringing you back, whatever. I assume that gives you an option.
Oh, positive though, because while the game has had so many,
instead of, throwing you out of the loop like, hey, where's my offense coordinator at? He left for a new job? All right, that's great, fantastic. I had no idea. Like, I assume it gives you some input of, hey, your offensive coordinator is looking to be the next head coach at Ohio State. Do you want to, let him go, whatever, or do you want to bring him back, whatever? Maybe, offer him more money or whatever the case may be. I assume that's an option.
many big wins across different modes and features we've already talked about. There is no cross-play in Dynasty mode. You can still cross-play in modes that are not Dynasty, so if you're doing Play Now or Ultimate Team or something of that nature, you're good to go there, but not Dynasty. Multiple outlets already said that the developers just weren't able to get it in for the game's return, but it's something they're hoping to bring in future iterations of the game, but not this one. Music to everyone's ears, Team Builder is back in College Football 25. The one downside, though, is we haven't really gotten a lot of extensive information revealed on it yet. EA Sports website does say that you can design uniforms, helmets, fields, and upload your own logo, so I consider that a massive W. Team Builder teams can also be used in both Play Now and Dynasty mode, but there's no word on the Team Builder website if it'll launch before the game or when it's really going to go live. It could be post-launch, could be day of, could be before. We have no idea. But to confirm, as long as your online Dynasty has a password associated with it to make it sort of a private online Dynasty, you can absolutely use the Team Builder team in your Dynasty mode, online or offline. One of the biggest questions I've seen people ask is whether Dynasty mode really has an NIL component to it. It's kind of all the talk in college football these days. The answer is a little weird because it kind of is, but it kind of isn't at the same time. So rather than calling it NIL, Dynasty mode in College Football 25 will call it brand. So as you can imagine, building up your program in turn will grow your brand rating, impacting players that care about the NIL side of things. Just don't really expect to meet with players and try to, slide them some dollars or a couple million to come to your school. That's not in the game. The brand impact, or the NIL, also leads to the transfer portal, which is in this year's game. Throughout each season, you're going to have a menu that lets you see what players on your own team are at risk for transferring, which is a massive thing, and then what their gripe ultimately is. Do they feel like they're not getting enough playing time? Are they worried about their draft status? Are they just hating you as a head coach? Maybe there's national championship concerns. Whatever it might be, it's up to you to resolve their concerns, or they might be up out of here. You might lose your starting quarterback and
that reminds me a lot of, I don't know like how it is like nowadays, but that reminds me a lot of NBA 2K with like the My GM mode. I don't think they call that anymore nowadays, but back then when it was called the My GM mode, players, coaches, trainers like come in your office and they would say like, this player would come in saying that he needs more playing time, or he feels that he should be getting the ball more, and you would be given like a 4 set of options of like, what to say to him, whatever. And it's like, oh, if you think I'll give, more playing time, okay, I'll talk to, the coach about, giving you more playing time, whatever. And their like trust and morale in you as a GM would go up and down based on how you respond to them. So hearing that sort of reminds me of. And if so, okay, cool. It doesn't sound tedious, which that's my main thing. Don't make it a slog fest to go through. Just let it be, okay, it's, couple menus, couple cutscenes, just a few like interactive stuff here and there, and we good. Don't turn this into like a 30-minute, narrative, so to speak.
And so it's important to ensure you're dipping your toes into both recruiting of the high school kids, the JUCOs, and the transfer portal as well. If your player does say, though, that they want to transfer, you do have an opportunity to try and keep them. Most importantly, though, just keep your players happy, or else you'll be witnessing them in another uniform next season, and I don't mean on Sundays. While the transfer portal is going to play a massive part of your team's success or failure, depending on how good of a coach you are, recruiting is just as important. Your school is going to have a My School screen that shows different pitch grades, and you'll see, potential deal breakers for the players as well. It is kind of cool, though, that not every player is going to have a deal breaker, but the ones that do, it absolutely is a determining factor. Imagine you're Georgia, the #1 team in the nation, and there's a kid from California, and his #1 priority is to play close to home. Well, even though you're a great team, it might be nearly impossible to get that kid to budge from wanting to play close to home in Cali to come all the way across to Georgia. You're also not going to be able to spend like a simple week on scouting a player, review all their stuff, and be like, I'm good. Recruiting happens over stages in College Football 25, and you're not going to be able to even...
There's a good bit more detailed recruiting compared to 14, as you'll assign hours to recruits. In the offseason, your recruiting hours and transfer portal hours will be one and the same. Once again, forcing you to make decisions on where to focus your efforts. You also need to be cognizant of leaving roster spots open for portal guys. Huh. The early signing period also makes its debut in the game, with the portal opening after early signing day. The recruiting process will happen in stages, as will scouting. Gone is the ability to get a full scouting day in 1 week, as you won't be able to get a guy's skill tree until you bring him on an official visit. You have to stay above a cut line through the process, going from recruit looking in his top 10, top 8, top 5, and top 3. You'll divide your allotment of recruiting hours across your recruiting board. The hours we saw on the screen were 55, but I don't have it confirmed if your recruiting hours to spend are dependent on your staff skill trees or not. I also wonder, I guess this kind of touch on it, when it comes to recruiting stuff, I do wonder about visits. Because... in the past games, like, you were able to, have some weeks where you would have, like, 1 or 2, recruits that you're really targeting, come down for, like, a game or whatever. And that was fine. But there are other times where you're able to bring in, like, sits guys, sits freshmen, sits recruits, to come down a game, whatever. Now, I wonder if that could be a negative. I wonder, I don't know if EA is this smart, but I wonder if there is a route out there where bringing in too many recruits in 1 week for a game, that's a negative that causes the recruit morale to go down because, you say all these like great stuff, you promised me all these great stuff, whatever, but here you are bringing in these like 6 other guys, probably saying the same thing. So like, what do you trust me? Because you clearly trust these other 6 guys, whatever. So that allows a little bit of distrust and discourse, which I don't know if EA is smart enough to do that. But if so, that's another bit of strategy to it. It means you shouldn't just recruit all these players and send them all to this game on this week or whatever because, well, there's a consequence of doing that. It shows them that, you promise all these great things, but it's like, oh, well... if you promised me all these great things, what were you saying these other 6 guys? I wonder. If so, that's a good feature. If EA is able to do it.
Get a player's full skill tree until you brought them on an official visit. Importantly, though, there's not really one just way to recruit in this game. The transfer portal opens up a wild amount of combinations for how your offseason can go, and so if you're recruiting, doing well, and hitting the transfer portal, great job. But if not, you might be coaching elsewhere. Every year, it feels like a wild amount of teams are changing conferences and trying to jump to the SEC or some other smaller conference, and there's just crazy movement. You'll be happy.
USC and UCLA in the Big Ten consist of Midwest schools. Because why not?
You didn't know, though, you're going to have a lot of control of custom conferences in this game. You'll be able to move teams around, change conference rules, and even create custom protected opponents. So maybe Michigan jumps to the SEC and you're like, hey, I want to make sure that Michigan and Ohio State still play each other each year. You can absolutely do that.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that a lot.
Or maybe you want the SEC to go to 9 conference games, and then you want the conference championship game to be played at the top-ranked team site instead of a neutral site. You can do that as well.
Huh. I'm trying to think of ideas. If I do a dynasty, I'm trying to think of all these ideas like, conference realignment, changing the amount of games in a season. The cogs are turning for ideas of content and streams.
One small note, though, you cannot create a new conference from scratch. It's got to be one of the current...
I want to create... That sucks. I want to create a super conference. Like, I want a conference that consists of Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Oklahoma, Clemson. Like, I want all of them just to be in one Superman Mega Avengers conference, right? Because then they'll take each other out, and then they'll leave the other conferences that are now in that super conference the chance to go to the college football playoff or whatever, because they're not having to compete with the big dogs. Instead, now these small schools are the big dogs.
Conferences, you can kind of move around as much as you want for teams in there, but you cannot make a new one. Whether you're playing online or offline, custom schedules are also back in your control. Keep in mind, though, the conference games will still be locked, kind of like how you saw in NCAA Football 14. The game is using actual schedule rotation.
Also, when it comes to the schedules, I know you talked about earlier, but I just thought of this unnamed school we are not going to name. 100% if I do a dynasty, well, it's not if, when I do a dynasty, it will probably just be Road to Glory first. 100% schedule-wise, a locked opponent is going to be Kansas. 100%.
That you're going to see in real life conferences, and they even have some of those crazy games scheduled in like 2032 and beyond. There's also a focus on annual matchups being played on the correct dates, so the rivalries are going to be played on the correct week that they would be played in real life. If you're screaming from the mountaintops, what about week 0 games? Well, they're also going to be in College Football 25. With that being said, they do not have a license for the stadium in Dublin, Ireland, so that game instead would just be played at a neutral site. Kickoff games, though, are a part of the game and are licensed, but they're going to be scheduled by the CPU. So if you're trying to take a team like UMass and put them in the Duke's Mayo kickoff game, that's just not going to be able to be done. A big change you're going to find in College Football 25 is around recruiting visits and kind of how they operate. Players lock in their teams in stages, and once they've gotten to the top 5 stage and locked in their teams, assuming you're one of them, which, you know, might be difficult, you can then finally schedule them on a visit.
We asked this earlier on stream. Once a player that locks in his top 5, you'll be able to bring him on a visit, and you'll once again be able to design a recruit's visit to show him the things that matter to him, or high things you're not highly regarded in. What game you bring someone to will also matter this year, with the game's outcome, win or lose, impacting how well the visit goes. For example, if you recruit to a game against number 2 Ohio State, win will move a lot closer to signing him if you bring him to a UL Monroe game and win. Yeah. On the flip side, a loss to a highly ranked team won't hurt you as much, but losing to a lesser school will highly contain your chances. Yeah. But, like I said earlier, is there a cap where bringing in so many recruits on one visit to one game, is there such thing where they realize, oh God, we now have 6 recruits all, you know, in the one game and everything? It's similar to you talking to 5 girls all at the same time. Not that I have any experience in that. Just saying, hypothetical scenario, you talk to 5 girls all at the same time. You tell them the same thing, how I love you, how you're great and everything, you're amazing. And all the 5 girls realize and meet up with each other like, wait, you said this? Wait, he told you that? I wonder if that thing happens here.
Not only that, you can actually craft a visit that's really catered to that particular player and hopefully your school's strengths as well. You'll be selecting individual options to make sure that they have the best possible itinerary to make sure they're having a great time when they visit your school. The game that you bring the player in has significant weight too. You'll be able to see how particular wins or losses from a particular game might impact the recruit's opinion of your school. Losing to a top-ranked school might not hurt you as much as losing to like a Louisiana Lafayette. Good luck if you're trying to recover from that. CFB 25 will also have multiple announcing crews, so if you're playing a big game, a national TV game, a major important one, then you can expect to see Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit calling your game. For the other games you play in Dynasty mode, you can see Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, and David Pollock out there as your announcers to really call your games, but you also will get special appearances from Desmond Howard and Kevin Connors as well.
W. That's a W.
If you played a lot of NCAA Football 14 or even some of the previous ones, rebuilding a small school was like not that hard. The first season, you might struggle a little bit, but by year 2, you're getting multiple 3 stars, at least a 4-star, to maybe even a 5-star if you're lucky. In College Football 25, plenty of the top recruits in the 4 and 5-star ranges will have smaller schools locked out with deal breakers. There's definitely a heavier emphasis on building up your pitch grades at your school just to even have the opportunity to land some of those big-time players. This goes for the portal, this goes for recruiting high school players as well. But once you do land them, there's also no guarantee you'll be able to keep them. So again, keep them happy, win some games, and just hope the transfer portal treats you kindly. I mentioned the ability to hire and fire coordinators in Dynasty mode earlier in this video, but know that there are consequences if you fire a coach.
I also do wonder, this just goes to like the difficulty settings, if you're able to like adjust the slider of how aggressive recruits are, of, you know, how likely they are to like enter the transfer portal, or, you know, how hard, because I know that's like a past, like, you know, in past games, like you're able to customize the difficulty of how hard it was to recruit players, or how hard it was, I guess, you know, in this case, like how hard it's like, you know, bringing in incoming transfers, whatever. So I wonder if there is I assume there's customization difficulty where you're able to choose, oh, you know, I want the hardest dynasty possible, where one wrong move and my recruit, he immediately is already out the door. He's already packing his bags.
Each coach is said to have a talent tree of players that are sort of, you know, attached to them. And you can actually see where this will be in game. And these players can be extremely loyal to that coach. Since players are able to transfer at the end of every single season, just like in real life, they could choose to go with that coach to the different school they go to or elsewhere if you end up firing that guy. Maybe that coach sucks, but a player they've recruited might be worth just keeping around for a little bit longer. A small but great detail in my opinion is that if you move a school from one conference to another, their stadium, field, and jersey patches will be fully updated as well. So if you move Colorado to maybe the SEC, you see proper patches apply to every aspect of how that school shows up in the game. A topic that a lot of people seem to care a whole lot about is that there will be no coin toss in games you play in Dynasty mode or really any other mode, except for like one particular instance. And to be fair, it's not something we really have in Madden either, but you can set your coin toss win and loss preference kind of within the game settings. The one area though that you can actually find the coin toss is that if you find yourself in overtime in College Football 25, you will get a coin toss that'll be able to make a decision on, but that's the only time. If you're
Chat, do y'all care about coin tosses? I'm being honest, I don't. I just want to hop in.
Fan of rivalry games, you will be happy to know that every single rivalry game that features a trophy will be in the game with the proper trophy.
Okay, nice. Cool.
And not just that, they motion captured every single celebration with the actual trophy or sort of a mock of the trophy made out of wood to make sure that they have a really cool celebration. While filling up your trophy case is really cool, I'm also happy to see that records are back. In College Football 25, they're going to be featuring school, conference, and national records that you have a chance to try and take down, as well as a bunch of different awards that are in the game for your players to win. And lastly, this one hurts if I'm being perfectly honest with you, but you cannot export draft classes from College Football 25 to Madden 25. Trying to kind of sum it up here with why that's not going to happen is that players are licensed in College Football 25 for their college NIL, their name, image, and likeness. They are not in the NFLPA. They are not going to be in Madden. And so it feels like a really illegal gray area with why we're not seeing those guys be able to go from college to Madden. It sucks. I'm extremely sad about it as somebody who exports players all the time, but I'm hoping in the future we can see that resolved. But at this point, who knows? It's a big hurdle to get over. And if you're wondering what happens when you get, 6, 7, 8 years into your dynasty and all of the real players are completely gone at that point and it's just randomly generated players in your dynasty, even then you cannot export those players either. I know. This one hurts. But that is...
Okay. Nice. Okay, cool. But yeah, that whole thing about not being able to export draft classes because of, the NIL, college players, obviously that's one agreement. The NFLPA, the NFL Players Association, that's like another agreement and everything. And that's kind of why there's like the ongoing feud right now with Marvin Harrison Jr., where, Marvin Harrison Jr., if you want like his like Arizona Cardinals jersey or anything, sure there's like China ones out there. But if you want like the official like NFL licensed Marvin Harrison Cardinals jersey, you're not going to be able to get that. If you were to play Madden 25 right now and go to the Cardinals and, want to throw to, Marvin Harrison with Kyle Murray, you can't do it. He did not sign off on the NFLPA. So right now, You cannot get Marvin Harrison stuff right now. Now, obviously, could that change in the future? Who knows? Maybe this may be a movement where, other, generational, like, college players, like, go in the NFL, whatever. Maybe it's a movement that they do the same. Who knows? It only takes one for a huge wave to start. But that's all interesting stuff. So, once again, I think that's going to do it for this stream. We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about college football stuff, just the home environments, how, the dream scenarios we talked about with the whole, like, Penn State stuff. Once again, the whole question about the recruiting stuff where, if you recruit, all these players and you schedule visits for like 5 or 6 of them to come down the same week for the same game, does that, negate, does that bring the recruits' morale down because, you brought in all these other guys on the same week and you probably said the same thing, or, more promising than to them, what about me? Where am I at? Where do I rank on your totem pole, right? Because I can totally see that happening in real life, so I wonder if EA brought that in. So, I'll leave you with that thought. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.